This is Rob Tebbutt for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. Delighted to be joined by Dave Coldwell. We're here in Essex at the Matchroom Fight Camp announcement. How are you, Dave?
Very good, thanks. It's been a good day. It's been a good day. Great settings, great weather. Yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, Fight Camp Part 2 with Fight Camp 2.0 with fans this time. Are you surprised that they've come back to do Fight Camp again with arenas open and whatnot?
No, because Eddie said right from the start it fancied doing it with a crowd here. So always knew it was on the cards. But it's obviously it's bigger than last time. You know, obviously the announcements for it and the setup here today, it's just everything's bigger than what it was last time. And with the ideas he's got for fight nights, how it's going to be set up here and everything, it sounds exciting. It sounds good.
From a coaching perspective, do you mind when you're kind of away from normal surroundings? I guess you'll be used to it now, having kind of gone through Fight Camp 1 last year, but does it bother you, or where it is? Do you have a preference?
As long as it doesn't bother my fighters, then it makes no difference. And you know, we see it as a ring's a ring. You know, whether it's in Germany, England, Scotland, or Eddie's back garden, it makes no difference really. So,
talk to us about your fighters, one of which we've seen around. Hopey Price has been doing the media rounds, haven't caught up with him just yet. But what have we got lined up for your guys? As I understand it, still waiting for an opponent for Hopey Price.
Yeah, we're looking, because he's going to fight on Fight Camp, then we're looking at him fighting in Leeds as well. So it's a couple of opponents we're looking for. I want to step up for him. He's put in the work in the gym. He's developed so well. Done everything I've asked of him. Getting quality sparring. You know, regular rounds with Leon Woodstock, super featherweight. Jordan in-house sparring. Kid Galahad, he gets a lot of sparring with. You know, people like that. He's developing loads. You know, working with. He's getting experience and he's getting understanding and it's working for him great. So there's no point in going against a guy that's just going to tuck up and just try and survive, and that's what I don't want. I want somebody that's going to come for it. You know, we want somebody like Zayed Hussein, who's 16-1, and we tried to get last time, and you know, he sounded pretty confident, and then he pulled out, and I've not heard anything since. But you know, that's a name that we're trying to get right now. Failing that, there's other good names out there. Ramez Mahmoud, he's a very good fighter. That would be a bit of a statement. So yeah, we're looking at people around that sort of level, you know.
While we're hovering around the subject of Kid Galahad, of course, somebody who's done a lot of sparring with Hopey over recent months in particular. What do you make of the rematch, him versus Galahad-Dickens? A very different sort of fight than the first fight. It's funny how boxing has this way of kind of coming full circle.
Yeah, it's a cracking fight, isn't it? It's a cracking fight. Listen, it's intriguing. It's one of those. It genuinely could go either way. There's so many questions about it. The first fight was a good fight, but I just think they're both better fighters now. Both better fighters, more experienced, smarter. The management of rounds are better. It's going to be a really good fight. It's probably that and Joshuatzi against Patelnik's probably my two favourite fights on what's been announced so far.
Who would you give the edge to?
I don't know.
Don't sit on the fence. Come on, David.
All right, I don't know. I don't know. I would probably say Barry's a favourite. But Jazz is one of these fighters that just keeps improving, and he's so driven, and he's, you know, a bit younger, a bit fresher maybe. It's intriguing. It really is. So maybe it's one of those where, for me, Barry's is a slight favourite, but I'm not going to be surprised. I'm not going, oh, Jazza won. So I'm not going to surprise me. It's just a fight I can't wait to see because I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, Jazza in some really good form as well, coming off the back of the golden contract. Staying with the featherweights, Jordan Gill. Okay, another one of your charges. Where are we with Jordan Gill?
European title next. Just waiting to find out what date it's going to be. We did have a date, and it was for Spain, but I think that date's going to get pushed back a little bit. Not sure. Wait to find out. Certain things that are happening over in Spain regarding crowds and things like that, I think. But yeah, I'm just waiting to find out a confirmation of the date. But Jordan will be ready for whatever. it's a fight he's been after for 2 years. You know, he's wanted that a couple of years. It just before Tinoco, that was the idea. We were wanting to go down that European route, and then obviously he got beat by Tinoco. He's had to come back. Got a couple of great wins in Belotti and then Cesar Juarez, and now we get his opportunity. You know, he's earned his opportunity, and this is an opportunity he's going to go out there and he's going to take. He's improved so much as a fighter. He's improved so much, and also mentally as a fighter, he's improved so much. Experience, you know, people are afraid to lose, are afraid to have that loss against a record, have the pride dented. But if you can learn from it, if you can handle the loss and you learn from it, it makes you a better fighter.
Moving away from him, now somebody I'm very much excited to see back in the ring is Lerrone Richards. Won pretty much every second of every minute of every round against Giovanni De Carolis last time out. What's the plan for him next? I know you mentioned Chris Eubank Jr. I know he was mentioning a whole host of other names in his post-fight interview / sing-along that he did. Where are we with Lerrone Richards at the minute?
I believe they've put the fight to a couple of people, and it's been spoken about, offers have been made and have been mulled over. It's got to be progression. It's not just staying at the same level. You know, it's got to be progression. And if the fight that we're wanting to comes off, it's an intriguing fight, and people are going to be like, oh, okay, you know, it's 15 fights in, going in. But it's 15 fights in, won a British, Commonwealth, European. You have to take the next step. He's 28, so it's not a case of just staying at European level and getting some more experience, because he's 28. You kind of like need to progress. So fringe world level / world level, but not top world level yet. Couple of names there, and then we'll see. And then, you know, after that one, then that prepares him, and then you propel him again a little bit more. He's got to make steps. He's got to make steps, because also I think he's got the talent, he's got the ability to take these leaps, but he needs the rounds, he needs the fights.
What did you make of his last performance now you had a little bit of time? Obviously the first fight that he had under your stewardship against Timo Lane kind of came and survived and made it awkward and horrible. Giovanni De Carolis is somebody that we're very familiar with on the circuit. He's slightly inactive, but still has boxed some very good guys. We saw certainly moments in the fight where we saw a little bit more aggression from Lerrone Richards. I know that's something that you've been, not necessarily the aggression, but speeding him up and getting him to go through the gears. I know that's something that you've been looking to work on. Happy with that? Still more to come from him?
More to come, but very happy with that performance. How can he not be? You know, do you not think that he threw more punches than what he normally does in that fight? You know, he stood in the pocket as well, you know, and worked on in that aspect of his game. Everything that he's been working on in the gym, he was trying in the fight. And under the lights, fighting for a European title, it's quite a lot of pressure, but he still had the confidence and smarts about him to actually attempt to do what we've been working in, and he did. And so, because even just talking to him, because he did that and it worked, and he was like, I can do that, he now wants to get better at it, and he wants to push him again, push some more. So I'm excited about him. I am excited about him. He's it's been hard work, and it's been a long process, because when you've got somebody that's naturally very laid back and just wants to do enough, trying to get him out of that is hard work, and it took a lot of bollocking, should I say. You know, in sparring, you know, just one-handed. Lerrone, use two hands. You got two hands. Things like that, it's just fry your brain and just piss you off. But in the last 3 weeks of sparring, he got it, and he just started going through the gears and started feeling comfortable doing it, and then he did it on fight night, and that's the most important thing. That's all that matters.
He's always still going to retain his natural, so to speak, style, despite the changes that you're looking to implement in there. The quote that always kind of springs to mind when thinking about Lerrone Richards, I rate Lerrone Richards very highly, is from George Foreman, when he said about boxing is like jazz. The better it is, the less people appreciate it. Do you think that applies to Lerrone sometimes?
Yeah, could be. Yeah, could be. But although that performance, everybody was raving about it. It was brilliant. I mean, I've been stopped by people, aren't boxing people, just people that watch boxing on TV, talking about what a great performance it was. So there is appreciation there, because he wasn't doing it in a running away manner, you know, and it was good to watch. He hits harder than what you think. His line in the interview I thought was brilliant. It was dead simple. When I think Andy Scott mentioned about, you know, on Twitter, people were saying the one thing about him is, you know, he doesn't punch hard enough. And he just said, well, if you don't think I hit hard, just walk through me then. It's a good point, because if somebody doesn't hit hard enough, how do you determine hard enough? Hard enough for what? If someone doesn't hit hard enough, then walk through them. But if you're not able to walk through them, well, they're hard enough to get your respect and stop you from doing what you want to do, which is what a lot of good fighters can do. Devin Haney, you know, Devin Haney does hit people want to slag him off after his last performance, which I thought was brilliant performance. People want to slag him off because he don't hit hard enough, you know. Not everybody has to go out there and knock people out in a round or two, you know. Shakur Stevenson is a brilliant boxer, but he don't hit hard enough. But he's world champion, and he stepped up another weight, and you know, he could win another world title in another division. Hard enough for what? You know, the end game for Lerrone is to become world champion. Is he a good enough boxer to become world champion? I think so. Is he does he hit hard enough to go in there and fight like Mike Tyson or fight like Conor Benn? No, I don't think so. But is he good enough to go in there and box like Lerrone Richards? Yeah.
Okay, well, you just mentioned it there, so I'm gonna well, not just there, but earlier on in the interview, Joshuatzi versus Ricardo Bolotnik. So I think that's a very interesting fight. No sitting on the fence. How'd you see that one going?
It's not sitting on the fence. It's not sitting on the fence. Boatsi.
Okay, break that fight down for me.
So Bolotnik is going to ask some serious questions, but Boatsi's got a very, very good, high-level intellectual coach, and the more time that he spends with Virgil Hunter, the better. The more understanding he's going to have of the game, and the improvements that can be there. The improvements in one thing, you look at Andre Ward. Andre Ward's a master of stopping you from doing what you want to do, nullifying, stopping you from getting your shots off, using your strength, using your power. That's because he worked with Virgil Hunter. Virgil Hunter can implement that with Boatsi, then that adds a lot to Boatsi's game, you know. And I say Boatsi, I lean towards Boatsi because I think he's going to have, you know, longer time to work with him, absorb with it, and he's a clever kid. He's a good student. He lives for the game. I lean towards Boatsi, but it's a good fight for him. It's a great test for him. It's a great step in the direction before he's fighting the top names. You know, that's what he needs. You know, he's been boxing at a similar sort of level for so long. He needs that fight where he's in there with a guy that some people are going to think are going to win, will win. And this is that fight. I'm excited for it.
As am I. Dave Coldwell, always a pleasure. Thanks for speaking to Boxing Social. Look forward to catching up with you soon.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.